Good morning and welcome back to the Haven Financial Group radio show. I'm Larry Kalvig, founder and CEO of the Haven Financial Group, celebrating our 10-year anniversary this year. Great to be on with Glenn Ramey, our insurance specialist, where this whole discussion today is about insurance. We like to hate insurance companies, but man, if we need it, we better have it. It can be expensive, but whatever you do have, check it out. Make sure it's the right insurance for what you're trying to accomplish.
Absolutely. We're going to talk about annuities. Now, a lot of people, that has a real negative connotation, Larry. When they hear annuities, they're like, no, not for me. But I know that you have said right here on this broadcast that annuities are good for some people if you know what you have.
You said it very eloquently, Kim. Annuities. And the listeners go, oh my goodness. So now we're going to talk about annuities. Well, guess what? All annuities are through insurance companies, all annuities. And I'll discuss the 4 different types. Nobody, first of all, has to have an annuity of any sort. A high percentage of people that are listening do have them. And I would say, based on a lot of history of talking through this, that probably 75% do not know which one of the 4 they have. I think that's a great starting spot. There are immediate annuities that are oftentimes transferring your monies over to an insurance company, and they're guaranteeing a certain payout. Some annuitized, which can be very surprising and probably something you don't want. There's variable annuities that are up and down with the market. They're funds inside the stock market, stocks, bonds, whatever it may be. Oftentimes not the best investment options. They come with higher costs. And what people should understand is, what are you paying and why are you paying it? And for many of the variables, 3 to 5% is not abnormal. You get 3 years into it and you go, what in the world did I do 3 years ago? Mm-hmm. Rightfully so. There's also fixed and fixed indexed annuities. The key word starts with fixed. But I'll tell you this, they're not all created equal. People do annuities for income to kind of offset if you don't have a pension. But they can also be used for accumulation purposes, much more in the last 10 to 15 years, because they were only used for income back in the day for many, many years. So for those that maybe have bonds in their portfolio, we'll use it as a bond replacement. Again, there's lots of different reasons why we think they can be a powerful tool as part of an overall portfolio, depending upon circumstances. If you're trying to protect some of your principal in your investments, great reason. You're worried about market volatility. You don't want the risk of the stock market, the ups and the downs. I encourage any listeners, the first quarter, I don't have the dates. Check out our website. I'll be teaching the Truth About Annuities class. I'm not aware of anybody teaching this. I have done several of them. They're very well attended, where we cover annuities in depth. Just remember, you don't have to have any annuities. Right. You should review the ones you do have and make sure that you're not missing some opportunities just because you're unaware of what you currently have.
Well, I don't want to be too overly simplistic, but I do want to step back for just a second. And I want you to explain to people how, using the term annuity, I realize there's all different kinds of annuities. You've just laid out the 4 different kinds. But how do they work?
Well, you transfer an investment asset over to an insurance company. It can be IRA money, Roth IRA money, non-qualified brokerage accounts. All annuities, as I mentioned, are through insurance companies. They all have terms to them, meaning a set period of time. They're not as liquid as money in a checkbook, so there's liquidity discussions that should be had. I mentioned the 4 different types. Insurance companies are the only companies, if you have a fixed or fixed index, that can guarantee you can't lose any money. Whereas the variable annuities are in the market, so they're variable. That's why they're called variable. They can offer income payouts, or they're, as I mentioned, can just be for accumulation purposes. Glenn will also mention at some point potentially that they can be used for long-term care, which we already discussed. Some annuities have long-term care riders that can be very beneficial if you can't qualify for traditional long-term care. It might be a different means to protecting against long-term care. But look at all the options, and we break it down. I call it an annuity review. If you're listening and go, Well, I know I have one, but I don't know which one I have. And be careful with all the negative. There's a lot of financial marketing. You know that. People have heard it. I hate annuities. You should hate annuities. Well, guess what? Which ones do you have? Is it appropriate? They're not appropriate for everything. I just had somebody in last week from St. Louis Park. Somebody had put almost all their investments in annuities. Well, that doesn't even pass the smell test. That's
Mm.
completely inappropriate and was not the right decision. I'm not saying anybody did them wrong, but again, it can be part of an effective, diversified, efficient portfolio.
Why does someone want an annuity, though?
A couple of reasons. Very simplistically, they want to guarantee X amount of dollars. They're income planning for them. If you're married, for you and your spouse, income planning.
Okay.
My wife and I will not have any pensions.
Mm-hmm.
We can create our own self-directed by using an annuity for income.
Mm-hmm.
The second, which most people are not familiar with, is simply accumulation purposes. Nothing to do with income. I want to maybe supplement some of my bonds with something that has some more of an upside with principal protection and no management fees, which bonds do. So again, there's a variety of reasons that you always review the pros and the cons with anything. The fixed annuities, they're more conservative. They're not designed to keep up with the market. You got to paint the picture of what they're actually potentially going to do. It's not robbing the bank. It's not winning the lottery. It's used for this purpose only. Sure. And again, does not have to be used in everybody's portfolio.
Larry, what are the tax implications with an annuity?
Oh, that's a great question, Kim. IRAs and Roth IRAs are already tax deferred no matter what investment they're in anyways. Mm-hmm. Non-qualified after-tax monies, brokerage accounts, if that sounds more familiar, any non-qualified monies that are used in an annuity grow tax deferred, unlike if they're in the brokerage or in a bank CD, it's tax deferred. Now, when you take a non-qualified annuity, when you take money out, those gains will be taxed at ordinary income tax rates, unlike a brokerage account, which would have long-term capital gains tax. So understanding those differences, does it make sense? Why does it make sense? It's having somebody explain it, because as I mentioned, 75% of annuity account holders, they don't know which one they have. Right, and that's a recipe for a problem, or a potential for a problem that I don't think you signed up for.
Larry, what about legacy? If you pass away, what happens to your annuity?
Well, most of them, not all of them, the principal passes on to your beneficiaries just like any other investment. Okay. I'm always careful, though, because if you have an income annuity that might annuitize, you gave up control of that cash value, your beneficiaries might not get anything. And that might be a major surprise. I've just in the last month, I had a lady come in. She had me review. She was actually from Lakeville, retired teacher. She had 2 variable annuities. She didn't know it. I said, "Are you receiving income?" She goes, "I am." And I looked at it and I said, "Well, I hope your kids or beneficiaries don't plan on getting this. They won't receive anything. And by the way, you need to live till the age of 92 or 93 for you to get all your money out." Well, I'm not saying anybody did anything wrong, but she was unaware, and I'll quote her. She goes, "Larry, I knew I should have never signed that." Now, thankfully, she was a good planner. She had other investments. She's going to be fine, but it had annuitized. She had given up control, and she literally has to live that long in order to get all her money out.
So there's no way to go back. You guys can't. No,
there is no way. It's an irrevocable decision. We don't see them as annuitization as much as we used to. And there's not enough time in the show. That might be beneficial to some, but in far more cases, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Okay, so 2 things for our listeners that I want to remind you, because as you can see, Larry is laying this out and it is there's a lot associated with annuities. The first is Larry offers an educational class. And as you've heard him say, he doesn't know anybody else who does this. You go to havenfinancialgroup.com. Larry, when's the next, do we have one coming up here pretty quick?
There is. I think it's in March. It'll be in March and April. There'll be a couple different options. They're very well attended. Yeah. If you don't want to wait for that, because you know what? I think I have a variable. I don't know what I have. Set up a time to come in, have an annuity review discussion. There's no cost to it. And again, what would be a better understanding of now I know, can I do anything? Or if I'm stuck, well, at least now I know I'm stuck.
Yeah, absolutely. The number is 612-504-8400. Unfortunately, I would say that lovely woman who came to see you maybe made a mistake when she signed that. And when we come back here on the Haven Financial Group radio show, we're going to talk about the costly mistakes that are out there you need to be aware of and you want to avoid when it comes to insurance and retirement. You're listening to the Haven Financial Group radio show.